All right, boys and girls, we're going to be planting a tree today. I just wanted to introduce this, say that, the first things about planting a tree is choosing the site, choosing the variety of tree and whatnot. And this is going to be a path that goes from this area of the yard into the vegetable garden behind me, in front of us now. And I wanted to put 2 tree guilds on both sides for easy access. So this is going to be a walkway with an arbor. Got a grapevine to grow up the arbor. And we're going to just continue walking, and these will be 2 fruit tree guilds that kind of introduce the vegetable garden. But I had already planted a tree here. This is actually a Arkansas black apple, and then I wanted to do a pawpaw here. But because of my neglect to put a protective cage around the pawpaw, it is a sad little thing. This is what it used to be, and this is the life that's left in it. So this is the importance of putting a cage around the tree. So I'm going to transplant this, put it somewhere else, and hopefully it'll flourish better. But the idea is we're going to plant this apple tree here to match that black Arkansas apple, same as this, Arkansas black. So we're going to learn how to plant a tree today. All right, so when we're digging the hole, the rule of thumb is that it needs to be twice as wide and about twice as deep as the pot, the root ball here. Fruit trees have relatively shallow roots, but you do want to dig a decently deep hole. But the more important rule, I think, is digging wide enough, making the hole wide enough. So what I'm doing here, the soil isn't too bad. It's not too clayey. Might break up the sides of the hole a little bit, but it's pretty fine. There's some clay in there, but it's pretty sandy too. We got pretty soaking rain several days ago, so it's not retaining the water too terribly. It's good stuff. I wanted to mention that, in a lot of old gardening books, they would advise you to add various supplements to the hole and the roots when you plant a tree. And for some reason today, that's not so true in the modern books. The idea is that you want the tree to acclimate to the native soil in the hole where it's introduced, rather than giving it some kind of a super mix of nutrient dense dirt, and then it gets spoiled with that, and then when it meets the native dirt as its roots grow out, has a tougher time. It's not as rich. This is pretty good. Getting the clay down there a little bit, but definitely think it's deep enough for our purposes. And break up the sides of the hole just a teensy bit in case there's sealing going on from the amount of clay in the dirt. There's a big rock. Break up the bottom of the hole, because you're likely to hit clay at the bottom of the hole, and you don't want that to seal. Break up the bottom. I think we're ready to put the tree in. So the trick here is when you put the whole tree in with the pot. That gives you an idea of, is this going to be deep enough? You want the soil line to come up to about the same point. Is it going to be deep enough? You compare the width. It's probably good twice as wide. I broke up the bottom, but it is deeper. It's just sitting on top of the loose soil. So I think it's ready. I'm going to, in order to break up the roots a little bit on the inside, sometimes the roots will attach themselves to the pot. Kind of just to loosen up the sides like this, similar to what you do for a seedling cell, trying to get little seedlings out of their cells. Should come right out.
So So you don't put the nutrients in before you put the tree in?
That's what a lot of people would do that, but I am going to use one special ingredient, and it's important for it to come in contact with the roots. So I'm going to put the tree in first, and I'm going to introduce this one supplement as I add dirt to the outside of the root ball. This is a nice looking tree. It's got some thick roots all the way to the bottom. Looks pretty healthy. It's not waterlogged or anything, not too dry. I do like to scratch up the sides of these roots really gently. You can see how they're coming off of their little surface of the root ball. This gives them a chance to get into the loose dirt around the hole real quick. Put the tree in. This is an important part. Not only do you want the tree to stand up straight, you know, in both directions. If you look at it from one way, move 90 degrees and make sure it's straight from that way too. This is looking pretty good. This is obviously the main leader. So that's kind of where your eye wants to follow. It's looking pretty good from that angle. It's looking pretty good from this angle, maybe just this way a little bit. And step two, think about the orientation to the sun. So our sun is going to come from this angle basically for this tree. And I don't want to have the tree like this maybe where, you know, these are going to be in the shade of this branch. I want to try to maximize the angle that all these branches get and kind of maximize the sun angle that all the branches get, kind of predict what would be a good way for it to grow towards the sun. All the leaves and all the branches are going to go towards the sun. I think that's pretty good. It's pretty straight this way. Pretty straight this way. All right, I'm going to use the same dirt that I took out of the hole. Not supplementing it except with some mycorrhizal fungi. So this stuff will create a better root network and nutrient network. It's fungi that attach themselves to the roots of the tree. And the fungi acts as like an extra communication network for water and nutrients that the tree would like. So I'm just going to put a little bit here at this point. We want it to come in contact with the roots. And then I'll add some more dirt. Scoop here. Scoop here. Also notice that this is soil because it's kind of loose. I don't have to break it up. Somebody else might have more clay or clods in the soil. You do want to break it up. What I'm doing now is kind of eliminating all of the air pockets down there, and you can see how the soil line is kind of falling as I do this. Now's a good time to add a little bit more mycorrhizal fungi. Inoculant. Obviously this isn't a mushroom, it's an inoculant. Some more dirt. Break up the air pockets, settle the soil, settle the loose soil in the hole with the shovel. Now might be a good time to kind of wiggle the tree, press down a little. Hopefully everything's settling in, there's no air pockets. Looks like the soil line is going to be good. It's not too tall, you know. If this is sitting up above the grade of the normal soil, you know, the pot soil line, if this is up, then it might have a little trouble retaining water because that'll be raised above where all the other water will be. Some, you know, get some water, but kind of creates a drainage thing. There's some bushes and stuff like that. That's actually what's advised, is to keep that soil line above your natural grade for good drainage. But that's not what we want for the features. Make sure the soil, loose soil is settled. Do that often. Maybe it'll save you from some headaches later. If you don't. At this point, I'll apply some pressure with my feet. Make sure the sides of the hole are really filled in. Even on the top of the pot, soil line a little bit. I think that's pretty good. Add the mulch, always add the mulch. One of my favorite permaculture maxims is nature is modest. She likes to be covered. Makes a lot of sense. If that bare soil was exposed to the elements, the bleaching sun and the winds, chickens, the top of the soil will suffer, and like the microbiome inside the soil will die off to some extent. So the mulch really helps. It helps with weed suppression. It keeps the weeds away. Helps with moisture retention. Keeps the roots of the tree moist. And it becomes the soil of the future. As we're building the topsoil, this mulch is just going to decompose, and that'll become the soil we use for the future. So in short, we just planted a fruit tree. It's got flowers. I've got 2 other apple trees a couple yards away. Hopefully they'll pollinate, cross-pollinate well, and I'll get some fruits. You can do this too. This all can be yours. We covered planting the tree. That's not it. We got to plant for the tree's future. This is what I didn't do with the pawpaw, was to have a cage like this to protect the tree from any sort of animal pressure, maniac dogs that are chasing the ball, just not, plowing through things. You want to water it, obviously. Not only do you want to water the top where the root ball was that the tree came in, but water wide where you want the roots to go. Water wide because you want the roots to go outwards. Water well. Another thing you want to consider is if you have strong winds in the area. Tender tree faced with some high velocity winds isn't going to be a good mix. So if we have bad winds, you'd put a stake into the westward side, wherever the direction the wind is coming from. Put a stake there and then strap it so that if the wind's coming this way, it won't push it that way. It'll be strapped to this stake and it'll hold it straight into the wind. That's what you want to do. We don't have that bad of winds here, so I'm not going to do that. But that's what you do in the situation that there was. Got to keep watering the new plantings. Make sure they don't dry out, and as long as you do that, you'll have a good tree. Good luck again.